Are you tired of putting in all the effort and still getting nowhere in the dating world? You're not alone. In fact, many people, especially in the West, are feeling frustrated, disconnected, lost, and lonely when it comes to dating.
All right, guys, today we're going to dive into some of the biggest reasons why dating feels so hard in the modern Western culture and what you can actually do about it.
Let's start with what I like to call the illusion of choice. Apps like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge have completely reshaped the dating landscape. On the surface, it seems like we have a sea of potential partners, but in reality, it's often overwhelming and impersonal.
Yeah, guys, think about it. I mean, every swipe gives us a dopamine hit, but rarely does it lead to meaningful connections. So it gives us the false expectation that we're really connected with people. When you're constantly exposed to new faces and profiles, you begin to feel like there's always someone better, just one swipe away. You've probably heard it. The grass is always greener on the side, right?
I live it.
So this constant swiping for the next best turns people into options instead of dating potential.
So instead of actually committing to someone, we're left with analysis paralysis, where we can't really decide or fully invest because we're always looking for the next best thing. Another massive problem is setting unrealistic expectations. Movies, social media, and dating culture in the West tend to create this fantasy world of relationships. Many people dive into the dating world expecting to find the one with instant, effortless connection. And if they don't find that, they immediately feel discouraged.
The truth is, guys, and you might have experienced this yourself, is relationships require work. Real relationships don't look like the highlight reels or rom-coms. They're built on compatibility, communication, and sometimes even compromise. Things that aren't exactly glamorous. Also, what I'm going to throw in there is time and patience. A movie ends in an hour and a half to 2 hours. An actual relationship, to get into something exclusive, can take 5 months to a year.
It's funny, I was actually listening to a podcast the other day who mentioned that rom-coms typically land about an hour 30 to 2 hours long rather than 15 minutes. And that's because it actually takes time to cultivate a connection and chemistry in a long-lasting, loving relationship.
And when we watch a movie for an hour and a half to 2 hours, it kind of gives us an expectation like, oh, I should go on a date and we should be in love. Because that's how long a movie lasts. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, their whole lifetime plays out in an hour and a half.
Right.
When we hold on to unrealistic ideals, we ultimately overlook real, meaningful connections, oftentimes that are right in front of us because they don't fit our picture-perfect expectations.
All right, guys, next we're going to be talking about Western society as a whole. And in Western societies, we're taught to be highly individualistic. Personal freedom and independence are highly valued, which is great and has a lot of perks, but it can also make dating harder. People often prioritize their own goals, careers, and lifestyles over building relationships. With a relationship, it does involve a lot of giving and sacrifice. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does make it harder to form lasting connections.
Instead of viewing dating as embarking upon a lifelong journey with someone, most modern people, when it comes to dating, think more along the terms of, how does this person fit into my life? This me-first mentality can make relationships seem more transactional, where people feel they need to check off certain boxes, instead of just getting out there, putting their best self forward, and enjoying the connection.
There's so many videos online now about the 5 red flags about dating, the 10 red flags about dating. And they can make it almost like, hey, I'm going to go out just to see if this person has red flags, instead of, do I actually like this human being? And pro tip, guys, we all have red flags. So
here's another huge reason dating is failing in the West: fear of vulnerability. Many people are afraid to be fully honest about their feelings, to open up, or to commit because they don't want to get hurt. We live in a culture where it's a lot easier just to keep things casual or flat out ghost someone instead of having an open, vulnerable, honest conversation.
Facts, man. How many dates have we had where the girl just kind of blanks us instead of saying like, oh, this came up, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Like just normal basic human communication.
That's actually how most average dating interactions end.
Yeah.
You establish that there's mutual attraction, that there's compatibility, things are going great, they're evolving in the right direction, and then all of a sudden, whoop,
yep,
he's gone.
But like Jared said, if we don't learn to take risks and let our guard down, it's hard to truly connect with somebody. This can be friends, family members, anybody in the world. Right? Being vulnerable is a part of building trust, which is an essential part for any real relationship.
And finally, there's the issue of emotional intelligence. In the West, we really aren't taught how to navigate emotions or handle conflicts well, which makes relationships even harder, especially when you're dating girls from more emotive type cultures like Latinas. Many people don't take the time to understand themselves or work on their own emotional state. Many people don't take the time to work on themselves, including their own emotional intelligence. And that really does affect the way they communicate and connect with others.
Yeah, you guys have all experienced it. When emotions get high, things can spiral very quickly. And without the tools to communicate effectively or manage conflict, improving emotional intelligence isn't something most people think of when dating. But it could be the difference between shallow encounters and meaningful relationships.
So, what's the takeaway here? Dating in the West isn't necessarily doomed, but if we want better connections, we need to look at how we're approaching it. Be mindful of how much you rely on the swipe culture. Recognize and challenge your expectations. Embrace vulnerability and work on your emotional intelligence. Ultimately, it's about being open to real connection and understanding that it takes time and effort.
If you're feeling frustrated, remember, you're not alone. And these are things we can all work on. So start with step one, and you may be surprised at how much it can shift your perspective on dating. So that's why we've created the MexPat Dating Program. This program is unlike any other dating coaching program you've heard of before or maybe participated in. Most dating coaching programs, right, they give you poor results, they take a lot of money, take a lot of time, and they want to keep you there for 5 to 10 years to really help you master dating. Right? We've developed a system that in the matter of weeks, you can begin to implement and start having real results in dating. So you'll never have to talk to us again.
So to get started, click on that link below to schedule your free strategy session, and let's start building a life worth living and loving when it comes to dating together. On this call, we'll dive into your own personalized goals and teach you how to build connections through on life or in real life, learn texting strategies that actually get girls excited to show up on the date rather than flaking or ghosting, and how to properly execute a date so she wants to keep seeing you time and time again as your relationship and love starts to blossom.
We get it, guys. Dating can be hard, but it doesn't need to be impossible. And that's why we've put a lot of time and energy into creating the MexPat Dating Program. We've helped countless clients get instant dating results. And very quickly too, we don't want to work with you forever. We want to get you the tools to start creating your own dating life fast and efficiently.